Welcome back to day 11 of Shall We Games to Quarantine 2. Every day for the foreseeable future, I'm going to recommend some games I think you should be playing during quarantine. Some will be free, some will be paid. I promise you I am not a simulation stuck inside SimCity. Many people will say Cities Skyline is what SimCity tried and could never be. But if you've actually played the Cities games and the SimCity games, you'll realize it's entirely different. Yes, it falls under the same city building genre, but they both have their own quirks, issues, and fundamental differences that really change the way city building feels and plays. Cities Skylines is all about the fully customizable city experience with every element of the city is customizable. From the way the traffic works to the assets you can plop into the game, I've watched people just straight up recreate entire real life cities in Cities Skyline. Cities Skyline is more about the experience building a city rather than the simulation of city building. Cities Skyline is a fun, expansive game that really allows you to recreate real life. Though the simulation has had some issues in the past, the game is still a fun, robust city builder with great mod support. I know you either think SimCity 2013 is either the worst game or the best game ever. Honestly, this game was way ahead of its time. I can remember all the screams of people yelling about the always online requirement in a single player game, and now we have a bunch of games releasing this year that requires the exact same thing, and we've all just accepted it as fact. Well, I mean, obviously it was for SimCity, it was a little bit more complicated than that, but my point is, it happens. Either way, SimCity 2013 is a fantastic game that is worth playing. It's a shame EA never bothered to even provide small, simple updates to the game, which I feel like would have really helped the game continue forward. Those small updates could have been small bug fixes. There are a host of bugs and actual simulation break-in issues within the game that, despite its Cities of Tomorrow expansion, which is a really good expansion that really adds a lot of good stuff to the base game, it still has ways to go. However, to EA's credit, they still have the main game servers opened, so you could still play to this day. While we don't have the freedom or the map size that the other SimCity games had, when you look at it the way it was meant to be played, you begin to realize what the concept of the game was. I think with the community plus Maxis Studios hashing it out over the years, SimCity 2013 could have become one of the best entries in the franchises. As it stands, it is a genuinely fun game with its own quirks and bugs and balance issues. Cities in space, which is probably the only and best way to describe this game. Surviving Mars sees you become Elon Musk as you attempt to forge a new Earth on the surface of Mars, with an array of seeded maps, each with their own resources, pros and cons, as well as natural disaster probabilities. Surviving Mars sees you building a massive planet-wide empire. Surviving Mars is a fun, excellent city builder that really goes in on its aesthetic. All of the game's base city building mechanics are fine-tuned to account for what you'd expect Mars to have, from being forced to manage oxygen, food, and your citizens' happiness. Putting cameras inside your domes to create reality shows and then selling that to the people of the Earth as propaganda for your Mars empire. The ability to pay off with computer AI and fight for domination over Mars is also a nice touch. Surviving Mars is a great city building game that innovates on the standard city building formula for its own franchise. With multiple expansions and balance updates, makes Surviving Mars a clear winner in my personal opinion. Well, that's all for today. If you've made it this far, please comment below about what you've liked about these games and recommend any other city builders you think I should be interested in. Since we are on day 11 of 14, I'm going to be shifting up some content. If you'd like to see a particular style of content, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe for more recommendations and even more content coming in the future.